Opa! Tudo bom, gente? Começando a segunda parte aqui no Ralfini. Desculpa os problemas aí. Sorry for the technical issues, interruptions. But we're ready to get started. I'm announcing myself today. So, André to the stage. Hey, thank you. All right. André to the stage. No. So, my name is André. I run ZBD. And we put Bitcoin in games. We're actually quite a bit more than that. And today, I'm going to talk to you about what we call the Bitcoin effect. It's a term that has come up time and time again with partners, with customers, and it sort of became a thing that we, oh, there we go. It sort of became a thing that we use, a theme that we use. It's called making play pay. So, if you're not familiar with ZBD, we are the very first payment service provider native to games and entertainment. What that means is we build solutions for game developers, for app developers, and platform developers to integrate Bitcoin into the fabric of your experience instead of doing it as a third party. We've been in business since 2019. We're a US onshore regulated money service business, and we actually are growing into the EU, so stay tuned for more updates there. The team is fully distributed with a lot of us here in Brazil. So, but enough of the company, let's talk about Bitcoin. So, André, what is the Bitcoin effect, right? When we talk about Bitcoin, we talk about this notion of every interaction having Bitcoin, whether online or in person. If you're going to buy something, it's with Bitcoin. If you're going to, zap someone, it's with Bitcoin. If you're going to support someone online, it's with Bitcoin. And from a business standpoint, right, we serve businesses. We serve game developers, game studios, platform developers. From a business standpoint, the Bitcoin effect means that Bitcoin, introducing Bitcoin into your business and into your product proposition means it transforms that performance, right? It's not just adding Bitcoin for the sake of adding Bitcoin. It's not just adding Bitcoin for it to be a new cash out method. It's because it transforms business performance. So today, I want to take a second to talk about the Bitcoin effect and how that was introduced to a handful of our partners and what that effect has done to their business. So let's start. Raise your hand if you've heard of Bitcoin Miner. Right, so if you didn't know, Bitcoin Miner is the single biggest Bitcoin game in the entire world. They just crossed 2 million downloads, predominantly US-based, and they have over 100,000 daily active users. So we're talking about a single game that's very simple. It's called Bitcoin Miner, so you actually run a mining operation, right? But the beauty of it is that 4 years ago, 5 years now, when the game first launched without Bitcoin rewards, without any ZBD capabilities, it didn't hit that Bitcoin effect. 2 years ago, they introduced ZBD as a reward mechanism, right? And what does that do for them? They've seen day 7 retention skyrocket to 400%. What that means is 4 times as many users are coming back to that game after 7 days. This is incredible. And it's not just KPIs relating to retention, it's not just user monetization, it's revenue, right? With the addition of ZBD capabilities and Bitcoin capabilities, Bitcoin Miner increased revenue across all of their events. So this game is actually incredibly profitable. So Bitcoin Miner onboards more people into Bitcoin than you can possibly imagine. So that's the Bitcoin effect for them. They introduced Bitcoin and they saw massive, massive rises in KPIs. And so let's go from mobile gaming to desktop gaming, right? So last year we did an integration with Splitgate. If you're familiar with Splitgate, it's a pretty big AAA title, first-person shooter. And we ran a set of games and tournaments with them at the end of the year. And what happens, you can see here, is towards the end of the tournament, people were coming back and playing more and more games each week. And that's because there was skin in the game, right? People were earning Bitcoin by playing, and I could take your Bitcoin if I beat you. And 1047 Games, which is the creator of Splitgate, actually worked with us to look at data and crunch data together. And what we saw is that the addition of Bitcoin actually introduced a whole new revenue stream for them. Because people had to pay in to participate in these tournaments, they saw LTVs for each user, lifetime value of the user, monetization, upwards of $5 of new spend that didn't exist before, right? So you're monetizing users more just by adding Bitcoin. So this is the Bitcoin effect for 1047 games. And it goes way beyond just games. When I started, I mentioned that we are native to games and entertainment. So it goes far beyond just mobile games and desktop games. Let's talk about the entertainment part. So when we talk about entertainment, we mean music, podcasts, live stream, videos, you name it. This is real interactive entertainment. Gaming being the biggest chunk of it. So this is Fountain and Wavelake. So we are the biggest partner to the value for value and podcasting 2.0 industries that are being created right now. And this is relating to the notion of creator rights, right? We talk about gatekeepers, and I'm going to talk more about gatekeepers. And they take 30%, 40%, 50% of your what you should earn. With ZBD, you keep 99% of it, right? That's entirely up to you. So with Fountain and Wavelake, they were able to introduce the Bitcoin capabilities to their system, provide brand new feature sets like boosting someone and paying directly to your favorite podcaster. Podcasts are now fully monetized through Fountain. And so we're very proud to be supporting this, and this is how we bring the Bitcoin effect to creator rights. And then it goes further. Ad tech, for example. If you've heard of Slice, it's a very simple browser extension, and as you browse the internet, we all see ads everywhere. Slice replaces those ads for ads that pay you Bitcoin. So if you're going to see ads anyway, may as well monetize that. So you install a very simple browser extension, and they've actually just crossed 1 million downloads. And I think this is outdated, but every 5 minutes there was someone withdrawing sats to ZBD from Slice. And the beauty of it was when they launched, they only had PayPal cash outs, right? And so you can imagine when the baseline of cash outs is needing at least $10, that means that you have to earn a lot of Bitcoin by watching ads before you can withdraw. And so no one would withdraw. And so what happened is they introduced Bitcoin, sats. And everyone withdrew because 10 sats is usable, whereas 1/100th of a cent is not, right? This is the Bitcoin effect. So what you're saying is you can just add Bitcoin and profit and KPI plus, everything is good, the end, right? Yay, Bitcoin. No, it's not that simple. I'm highlighting case studies, of course, but the reason why we believe that the Bitcoin effect is real is because the interactive entertainment and gaming industries are 50-plus-year-old industries that have not kept up with payments innovation. They just haven't. Existing solutions are super fragmented, and we can talk about the fragmentation on a technical level where you have multiple platforms that are supposed to speak the same money language, right, the dollar, but you can't really send money between them, even though they speak the same money language. And you can talk about geographical restrictions and fragmentation, right? We're in Brazil. The payment providers and systems here, for example, Pix, the whole network only works in Brazil. The second you step outside of Brazil, that money is useless. You can't use that, right? So if you are a game developer, you want to serve the entire world. It's online. So now I have to introduce support for tons of fragmented and siloed solutions. They are really, really expensive. And then when you built your application, you built your game, then you need to distribute it, right? And that's the famous gatekeepers I was talking about. We're all very familiar with Apple's lawsuit, I believe at the Supreme Court level as well with Epic Games. They're also being sued by Spotify. And that's because they keep 15 to 30% of the money you earn. Just by allowing you to be in the App Store, they do that. And that's just Apple. Google does the same thing. Steam does the same thing for gaming. And they are the gatekeepers. If you don't play by their rules, you don't distribute. You don't reach the customers in the audience. And there's a reason, and actually Apple is being going through a very big process with the European Union right now, given the DMA Markets Act, where they have to sort of allow additional payment capabilities from third parties. But again, Apple has such a big monopoly when it comes to iOS, of course, distribution of apps, that they basically say, we'll cave to some of those demands, but not all. So we're going to charge you 27% instead of 30%, right? Which is kind of a slap on the face. So, and you may be thinking, like, why are these gatekeepers so, why do they do this? Why is it so important to maintain that? And that's because 2/3 of iOS App Store revenue is games and entertainment. There's a reason the Google Play Store is called the Google Play Store and not the Google App Store, because it is also like this, predominantly games and entertainment. iOS should be the iOS Game Store. This makes this is 2023, $90 billion, right? So decreasing even 1% is very, very big on that revenue chart. So they will do everything they can, possibly, within the law, I guess, to maintain this, right? This is how they monetize. And so that all sounds great. How do we do it differently? ZBD doesn't just plug in legacy systems into a game. We don't just shove some APIs together and say, here you go. It's not just a dumb SDK, right? It's much more. We bring technology that allows you to put money as a fabric of the game. It's no longer a third party. It's no longer a web view. It's no longer a legacy system. It is part of the game. And that's because money is digital now, right? Oh. And so incumbents, let's go through a little example, right? Imagine you were playing Call of Duty, right? And in that game, you want to introduce money into that game. Actual real money, not points in that game. So let's say I want to buy some skin or I need some more ammo, and I click buy. And then in the middle of the game, a web view pops up. Please enter your credit card information, right? That's horrible, right? That's retrofitting. You're trying to shove legacy payments into an environment where they're not prone for. So what we do is we bring what we call native payments. The technology sits at the same level as the rest of your code base. It is fully digital, fully interoperable. What you arrive at is much better UX, which we'll talk about, and incredibly low costs. So are we all familiar with Farmville? We're all, everyone's heard, played Farmville. It's one of the reasons why Facebook Games was so big. It's one of the big titles. Farmville is a very simple game, and you have a farm, and you raise your cattle and do your plantations and so on, and you harvest things, and you trade with other players and friends. This game on the left side is by Metabit Games. It's called Homegrown. It's effectively Farmville, much better. And on the top left here, there's a Bitcoin sign with 105. So those are not just rewards. Like that, you could introduce rewards, but that is not just rewards. In this game, when you can sell your cattle for sats, and then you can take those sats and you can buy a bushel of wheat or something from another player, and you can then, if you have a great plantation, you can harvest that and take those sats out of the game and put it in another game, or send it to your wallet and buy something. Bitcoin is part of the game. It is not just a little cash-out method. It is not just a reward mechanism. And so money becomes truly part of your experience. And this is why we believe that the Bitcoin effect is a thing, because we believe that Bitcoin empowers games and interactive entertainment experiences. It brings a whole new dimension that simply wasn't possible before from a technology standpoint. And so we've been talking about the Bitcoin effect, and it's great that we're able to provide that to our customers and our partners. But actually, we've seen this ourselves. The ZBD app is the single best place to onboard folks into Bitcoin. You don't need Bitcoin. It's entirely risk-free, and the entire purpose of the app is to earn Bitcoin. We believe Bitcoin should be made simple to everyone, so we meet you where you are. So you can download ZBD, and you can play games. You can participate in quests. You can join our Discord communities. You can do a lot of things that allow you to earn Bitcoin, and engage with this whole new economy. And so the Bitcoin effect for us is this. We just crossed 3 million downloads in iOS and App Store and Google Play Store, and we're processing well over 25 million transactions a month on Lightning, right? This is how we see the Bitcoin effect for us. So we're living it. So you're saying, you know, if I do Bitcoin the right way into my experience in a way that makes sense in the fabric of that game or that application, then I can see massive KPI boosts, I can see greater monetization, I can see greater revenue. How do I go about doing that, right? What does that actually look like? Thankfully, there's a company called ZBD that has built some stuff for this. So we have the ZBD Dev Dashboard. This is your entry point for developers. Our technology is free to use. You can go to zbd.gg and sign up and plug in APIs, wallets, keys, you name it. This is your home, the developer home base. We have a plethora of SDKs and APIs that you could use. There are more plug and play. And you can manage your entire integrations and transaction activity and funds and everything. So this is the one-stop shop for developers. And there's two main ways to use ZBD as a developer. You can do a full-blown payments solution. So this is where you introduce support for Lightning in the bare bones of your application. And so you can do things like key send or Bolt 11s or Lightning addresses or on-chain or whatever it may be. And we serve 100+ countries, and you get to focus on your experience, right? How does it look? What's the UX? How does it really fit with what the customer wants? Instead of having to worry about liquidity or management or fund, you know, that's all managed for you. If you've ever listened to a podcast on Fountain or even heard of the term streaming money, that's what this is. We provide you APIs that allow you to stream money on the internet. The other side is if you want something a little bit more managed, a little bit different. We recently released the ZBD Rewards SDK that's really been picked up by the gaming industry. And what that means is, as a game developer, you don't need to know Bitcoin, you don't need to touch Bitcoin, you're not even managing it. This is a fully managed system where it's a plug-and-play solution for Unity developers. Unity is the gaming engine for the majority of hyper-casual games on mobile. And what this does is introducing the Bitcoin rewards gives you that Bitcoin effect because users come back to your game day in and day out because they want to earn Bitcoin, because they want to participate in this economy. This has seen the Bitcoin effect for many games that I didn't talk about today. And this is fully plug-and-play solution for any developer that wants to integrate. You don't even need to touch Bitcoin. So those are the two ways, right? And I think the sort of theme that I want to get to here is what we call the Bitcoin effect is actually much deeper. It's actually like, how do we solve money in games and money in entertainment? It's always been on the sidelines. It's always been a third party. It's always been legacy. We believe it needs a new way, a new method, a new approach. And it's a three-step approach. So the first one is give it real value, right? If it's gems in the game, that's pointless, that's valueless. Make it sats. If it's, skins cost $30 in Counter-Strike, make it worth something, right? Don't just use valueless points. Make it worth something. How we do that is with Lightning, right? It's perfect for pay-ins, it's perfect for payouts. It allows incredibly low value transactions to be done economically and efficiently. And within a game ecosystem, right, between players or between gamers or gamer to developer, you can actually arrive very close to a zero-fee ecosystem. So you can run an entire money-based operation inside of your application very easily. Step 2 is connecting legacy, right? We said, okay, we don't want to connect legacy. Well, we connect legacy so you don't have to, right? We abstract this out. And so I'm very thrilled to be talking about this for the first time publicly. In 2025, Q1, ZBD is launching full support for real money. We're starting with Euro, full support, and USD coming very soon. So what that means is you can get the Bitcoin effect if you want to use Bitcoin, but if your gamers want dollars at the end, they can get dollars. If they want euros at the end, they can get euros. right? And that's coming to all of our applications. So whether it's the SDK, the payments API, the ZBD app, and the developer dashboard. Real money. And then once you have all of that abstracted out, and it's native to the game, and it's embedded with everything like legacy payments, you bring that experience into your game, right? You bring that wallet into your game. And for us, that's login with ZBD. Everyone knows this, login with Google, Facebook, X, I guess. And by using login with ZBD, you're not just bringing user details, you're not just bringing a profile image or an email address or something like that. Every user is money enabled. That means you can pay to them, they can pay to you, you can reward them, you can create loyalty programs, you can re-engage the user, right? And because of other innovations in the space, like the Lightning address, these customers are able to interact, these developers are able to interact with the games and with the gamers in a much deeper, meaningful way. It's not just spam messages. There's value involved in each of those transactions. Remember in the beginning I mentioned we want this utopic world where every interaction has Bitcoin. This gives you that. And so by using linked accounts, you're able to target your customers effectively. You know them better. You know which games they want, which games they like. You know how to speak their language. And ZBD abstracts all of that out. Legacy financial systems, don't worry about them. It's 2025. Use modern things. We handle anti-fraud. We handle everything you can imagine. So focus on building the experience. Focus on getting that Bitcoin effect that drives your business, that drives your customer. Remember that adding Bitcoin has to drive performance gains. If it's just adding Bitcoin for the sake of adding Bitcoin, you're doing it wrong. Bitcoin has to drive something for you as a user, or for you as a person, or for you as a business. If you want to get the Bitcoin effect, you do it with ZBD. Thank you.